beautiful people. We have, of course, the lovely Jennifer Bailey, who is
Ginger.
the information is going to be on the screen and down below. We've got my lovely son Eric on the other side, and we have Samantha Caprio-Negret. Did I say that right?
You did.
I don't know
Yes.
whose name is more difficult. But
Think of
anyway,
like Leonardo DiCaprio. It's Caprio with the D, without
Caprio.
the D. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Ginger's going to start off by introducing her to
Yes.
beautiful people.
Yes. So Samantha here is a accomplished author, screenwriter, and also professional makeup artist, and has her own makeup line for is it preteen to young adult, right?
Yes, in the
Yes.
process
Yeah,
of.
in
It's
the
not.
process. Yeah,
Yeah,
in the
it's not
process.
done yet.
But still, just think that's great. And also, ghostwriter, writing consultant business too, correct? That you just started.
Correct.
And she's going to talk about it. And I think this is important for those who watch this. Eric says there's going to be a lot of people watching that have a story to tell, have their own story to tell, and not sure where to start or how to go about it. And this is going to give them a lot of inspiration. It's going to inspire them and give them, maybe somebody to turn to. They
And
need
you're a
help.
mother. How do you do it? So many things.
A
Yes,
lot of help.
yes,
I have a
yes.
village. I have two parents who help. I have a part-time nanny who helps. My husband, when he can, he runs his own business. I just have a lot of support around me. So
That's awesome.
lucky in that aspect.
Good.
Yes.
But we're
Yeah.
all busy people too, and everybody's juggling everything. And I do want to be a part of my kids' lives at the end of the day. So I do
Yeah.
work from home. And being a writer actually could be a pretty lonely career because you're having an inner dialogue and conversation with yourself most days and emailing and texting. You're not really actually talking to many people through the day. So it's good that I have an active family life that keeps me going. But then this is kind of like my sanctuary. And I think writing has always been just very therapeutical for me.
Good.
And
Mhm.
that's what we'll talk about too, about writing your own story, about how it's
Okay.
Right, right. Yeah, he says that's very healing for those to put their
very,
story down.
yeah,
Yes.
very healing. So yeah, thank you for the introduction. That's was a lovely introduction. Did you want to add anything before?
Oh, I was just letting people know who you are, what you do, and I'll let you explain more about it. She does have a book series that's already published, children's books, where I'll let you tell a little bit more about it, but
Yeah.
it has to do with like at the afterlife. Yeah,
Yeah,
afterlife for children. This is for children, and I just
Cool.
think they're great stories. Yeah.
thank you. Well, before I begin, I want to thank you both so much for allowing me to be here today and for the platform and to talk about my books. And I was just telling Elisa that I've been watching Channeling Erik for I think about 5 years now. So I feel like I know Erik, I know your story, and Ginger and I have been working together she's been my life coach for the last year and a half, I think, Ginger,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah. Yep.
So Erik is her spirit guide or one of her spirit guides. And then,
Mhm.
so because she's my life coach, she's kind of been a spirit guide to me as well. And I think it was, oh God, so long ago that I was having a psychic medium reading. And somebody said to me, I don't know why, but you need to watch this Channeling Erik.
Hmm.
What
Yeah.
is that?
Who
So
was the
I
medium?
started,
Somebody we know?
oh, it's not somebody I see
Okay.
often. It was a phone reading
No.
around the COVID
No.
time.
Okay.
And then, it was always in the back of my mind. And then when we were on lockdown, I walk a lot in my neighborhood and I just started listening to it. And then I was just hooked from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Eric brings a lot of people to this channel in many ways.
He does. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
And yeah, and excuse I have a little bit of a scratchy throat this morning, a little congestion going on. So I'm like trying to,
Allergies or cold?
yeah, yeah. So,
Mm.
yeah, no, just, I was just, I think that, okay, so why I'm here, like, some people watching may be like, okay, well, what's an author of children's book series doing on the Channeling Erik? And I do really believe in the afterlife. I've had a lot of loss in my life, and I'll get to that in a minute about what inspired Rainbow Crystal. But I feel like somebody sent me to the Channeling Erik YouTube show. I would guess I'd call it a YouTube show. I don't know if it's a podcast too. You have a podcast as well that you.
I did, but Blog Talk just messed up 75% of the time.
Yeah.
Failed. Would not, the
Oh,
show couldn't go on. So I said, screw it. I'm
yeah.
paying
Yeah.
money for a 75% fail rate. I don't know,
Right.
it did
Yeah,
Yeah.
my
something
sister has a
technologically, but
podcast, so
then I also have another day, another evening with my husband, which, is,
Yeah. More time.
yeah.
well, I think my love for a few different things brought me to Channeling Erik, which is very interesting to me because I've always believed in the afterlife and that our loved ones are with us. I've always gotten psychic medium readings. Now, I'm not a psychic medium, but I am very intuitive and I do
Hmm.
dream about my loved ones who've passed on. As a matter of fact, I dreamt about two of them last night. It's constant. They're always appearing in my dreams.
Hmm.
So I think I also have a love for um I know this may not sound like it's related, but on some level it is. I have a love for Hollywood and Hollywood gossip and celebrities. So I love now that you guys are channeling the celebrities who've passed on and you're mind probing. I listened to the Justin Bieber last night.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have like all of these things
Horrifying.
going on, and it's brought me to Channeling Erik, which brought me to Ginger, which brings me here today to talk about my books. And my books are inspired by losing my best friend. Her name was Jamie, and I was hoping maybe she could come through to Ginger
She's here.
today too.
She's here. She's here. Yeah. Yeah.
Show
She's
you
here.
guys a picture of her just to put the face with the name.
Yeah. She's
This is
here.
When did she?
Jamie.
She's here.
Oh, beautiful. When did she die?
She passed away, God, she was 28. And she passed away on the 28th, January 28th, 2007.
Mm.
She was hit by a car. She died tragically. However, the last few years of her life, she struggled with drug addiction. She struggled with depression. She had a couple moments before that I always would call it like a cat with nine lives. I knew it was coming. I felt it coming. As a matter of fact, 3 weeks before she died, I had this feeling that she was going to not be here much longer. That's where like my intuitiveness comes in, which is very
Hmm.
strange.
Yeah.
I always kind of like had her eulogy in my mind because I was getting ready. Because when someone
Wow.
has drug addiction and, as you know, depression and things what they struggle with, you're just always kind of waiting on edge a little bit. And she struggled with drugs for like 10 years.
Mm.
And she had recently gotten clean, and then she got out of rehab, and then things just slowly went downhill when she started speaking to the boyfriend that she
Oh
was
boy,
speaking
that's
to
what does
prior
it.
to rehab. And then it was just like she was walking in the street one night. I don't know if she was on anything or not. Um, Car didn't see her. It was a residential neighborhood, and he hit her, and she died instantly. And at the same time, it's like I felt like I was kind of prepared for her death. You're just not. You're just never are. And it's the weirdest thing because it has been, gosh, let me think, how many years now would that be? If she died in 2007, I had just
Oh,
gotten married.
don't make me do the math. What,
17
she died
years,
before
right?
Eric did?
Okay, and sometimes it won't even be like an anniversary. It'll just be like a day, and I'm like, oh my God, I just wish I could talk to her. What would she think about my
Mm.
children? What would she think about my marriage and the books that I wrote inspired by her? So I was going through a really strange time. I had just gotten married. I just lost my best. So 6 months after I get married, I lose my best friend,
Oh,
and we were trying to plan and start a family. And so I had this idea for this book in the back of my mind, and it was inspired by a lot of different things. My love for storytelling, fantastical and mystical creatures, because I love fairies, unicorns, mermaids, and all that. And then I've told Ginger this too. My other love, like my interest, and I'll say love, is I listen to near-death experiences all the time.
Mhm.
I've listened to hundreds of stories of them, and I started when I was in journalism school. I did a story on some NDEs. Now, this is going back in like 2003. Not a lot of people had heard of NDEs. And then I read a few books. And I think that's another thing that brought me to Channeling Erik too, because I love to listen to the story of their passing over to the other side. It's kind of like an obsession. I don't know what it is. I listen to a few of them a week. I have been listening to these stories since I was like a teenager, which is crazy.
Wow.
What is
Well,
that? My
you
like
you are going, Eric says you're yeah, Eric says you're going to be helping a lot of people write stories that have to do with that and with that title. But also there's people that have stories that are into ease, but they also have where they've lost someone like
Mhm.
Elisa. Okay. I
Right.
think Elisa, you've had both. You've had both in a way.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, but you're going to be helping people, and that's why your interest is drawn that way. Anytime your interest is drawn to something, there's
Yeah.
obvious
Well,
reason.
could you have had something going on in another life that caused her fascination with the subject?
Eric shows me that she has had many lives, most of them here that she's had. Not that you've had many lives on Earth, but most of them that you've had here did include a lot of loss, a
Mm.
lot.
Mhm.
And so this is something, and you've also helped others in some of your other lives with this. You've helped others get
Interesting,
through it
really.
too. Yes.
Wow,
Wait,
and then
I
I
want
had a
to in
loss in this life too, which is
yeah.
crazy because it's like how much can I mean, nothing compares to the
What
loss of
more
a
does God
child.
want? I know,
But
man.
my best friend and my sister,
Oh,
and I've had a couple other good friends too. I mean, I would consider myself still young. I just turned 45. I can't believe how many friends I've had pass away.
wow.
Yeah.
I mean, crazy, a lot. So, just, I mean, nothing compares to the loss of a child, and nothing.
Yeah,
So
it's
I
not
can't
supposed to
even,
happen.
and I compliment you, Elisa, for going on and doing what you're doing. And you and Erik are just helping so many people. I know you don't always see it on a day-to-day basis, but trust me, we're listening and you are healing a lot of people. As a matter of fact, I had a mother come to me years ago who wanted me to ghostwrite her story. I told this to Ginger as well. She lost two children in two separate car accidents, 4 years apart from each other.
Mm.
And she was feeling like God was punishing her, and she stopped believing in God. And that's okay. I'm not judging her for that. I mean, I don't know what I would believe in anymore after that kind of,
Right.
just immense pain. But she wanted to tell her story. And when I asked her what I felt like her message was, like, what did she really want to convey to the rest of the world by writing this book? Because I told her, if you're going to write this book, you have to get raw with your emotions and you're going to revisit that. And there's going to be a lot of triggers and you're
God,
reliving
yes.
that.
It's like reliving it. Yeah.
When you're writing, you have to show, you can't tell. You have to show people what that looks like. You can't tell them what that looks like because there are a lot of people with amazing stories out there that should be told. However, what's so different from yours compared to everybody else's? Because today, unless you have some sort of really unique talent or you're a celebrity, people don't really care about your story. I
Ugh,
hate to say it.
that's true.
Like, so
Yeah.
you have to build a platform like you've been building and kind of become your own public figure. Okay, so now you have this platform, and then I think once you build the following, which I see you're doing, then you write your book, then you tell your story because now you have an audience. Okay, a lot of us authors just we don't have the audience. We have the story within us, but then we go out there and it's flooded
I know.
right now. It's a flooded industry. So you
Right.
have to stand out. And how do you do that? But anyway, going back to the
Mm.
mother, she said, well, I want people to know what not to say to grieving mothers. I mean, it's just awful some of the
Yeah.
things I've heard, like, I'm being punished for a previous life or,
Yeah.
whatever. Maybe she was in a previous life or something like that. And
Yeah.
I said to her, I said, well, I chapter in your story. But to me, your message is that you've lost two children and you've gone on living somehow. So you're here, right?
Yeah.
And she said, well, barely. I'm alive for my other child who's
Yeah.
still alive. And she said, I've thought tried to end it a few times and I didn't succeed. And I said, well, do you still find joy in your life on occasion? She said, yeah, I do actually. I go down to the Keys with my husband. We have a house and we work on it. And I said, so you can find joy in moments in your life still after losing 2 children? And she said, yeah. And I said,
Powerful.
well, then I think that's the miracle. And I
Hmm.
think really what it comes down to is that you're going to just save lives, because there's a mother out there or a father out there who wants to end it, and they're not going to, because they said, if you can do it with 2,
Right.
Yeah.
and I can.
Right.
I know a lot of people who have tried to kill themselves, but then, they obviously survive and they say, I'm so glad I didn't do it because this happened to me this week and that
But you
happened to
Uh-oh,
me this week.
froze. Oh, okay.
we froze.
Oh,
That again, Elisa, because you froze.
oh, sorry
Yeah, you
about
froze.
that.
That's okay.
Uh,
You're fine
you know
now.
how people have tried to commit suicide, but then they survive and they say,
Yeah.
wow, I'm so glad I was not successful
Yeah.
because I had
Hmm.
this amazing relationship now, or this happened to me. So, but yeah, it's really hard to write. Like this
Yeah.
one, My Life After Death, those first 3 chapters, channeled by Jamie Butler, was just, oh my God, it was just
Well, and
so
it's a
difficult.
whole other
Painful.
level
Yeah.
than what it does to your family members, is then they live with guilt because they think that they could have done something differently,
Yeah.
which you just absolutely couldn't have. And I could just tell from knowing you guys, of listening to your stories over the last, 5+ years, that you are an incredible mother. There's nothing for you to feel guilty about. And for some reason,
Oh
this
Hmm.
no.
was Erik's, from what I've heard from the psychic mediums you've had on, that this was a spiritual contract,
Yeah.
Hmm.
correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
There
Yes.
was no way. Doesn't make it easier, by the way. I'm not dismissing
No, no, I know
pain.
you're not trying
Just
to trivialize
No.
his
No.
journey, his mission in life was this. And you guys are helping so many people. And by the way, it is temporary. You are going to be with Erik before
Oh,
you know
yeah.
it. And that's
Right.
eternity.
Right.
And I'm
Right.
sure you guys will
And you'll be with
have been
Jamie.
in lives together and will be again.
Yeah.
You'll be with
Right.
Right?
Jamie and your sister. So wait, can we hear from Jamie? But before we do that,
Yes.
I would like to say, have y'all ever watched that guy is in a closet and he sings this song because when he died and then came back, it's a da 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 da, and he's going like that da da da. He's hiding from his wife
Uh-uh.
about how it was amazing his near-death experience. It is hilarious.
No,
Uh,
I've not
I'll try
seen
to
that.
find it, but maybe we can
Yeah.
hear from
Send me
Jamie.
a
My
link.
first, no, I haven't heard of that one, but my first one was, I'm sure you guys have heard it, Beyond the Light or something, or God, what was his name? A gentleman who was struck by lightning. And he died, and he apparently was a very not a nice human being. And when he died, he had a review of his life in Angels, and it showed him how horrible he was being to other people, and he had to come back and make it right. And then he was not only going to make it right, but he was going to tell his story, and he
Yeah.
was going to have gifts. Fantastic book. I'll have to send it to you guys when, we're off, like email it to
Yeah.
you.
Send
But
a link or
that was
something.
my
Yes.
first
Yeah. Yeah.
take of it.
So,
And as a teenager reading, I'm like, oh my God. And see, as a kid, I always knew there was something more. I always was talking to my angels and praying to
yeah.
God. And I
Yeah.
don't need a religious God, by the way, that can look however it wants to you. But when people were like confused, or they weren't sure, or even like my dad, he's like, oh, I don't know if I believe in any, you die, you die. And I'm like, how do you even believe that? Because to me, it's not even a question. And I think that, so writing Rainbow Crystal, it was, and I'll read you guys the synopsis so people can have an idea about what the book is about. And it's just easier to read the synopsis. But
Okay.
when I was going through the pain, and I had this idea for this magical, mystical story. Now, Jamie and I we used to talk about fairies, and just like if there was a realm that existed, and we just really did believe in it. I always did, like the afterlife. I have a lot of little characters that
Oh yeah.
inspire me on my day to day, like a wizard, little wizard, and
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
a
Yeah.
unicorn somewhere around here. But um we did believe in that realm. So when she passed away, something happened where I wanted to create a world, and it was between heaven and earth. And it's called Raven, and it's inside a world of a rainbow. And
Mhm.
there's seven different realms, red, orange, yellow, and it goes all the
That
way up.
is
And
cool.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
reason why I chose the rainbow is one, my love for rainbows. Rainbows have been very symbolic to me and my family because I had a special needs sister and I have a special needs son, and we have a charity called Rainbow Guardian.
Mm.
And rainbow is a symbol of hope.
Yeah.
And that is really, at the end of the day, what keeps us going on after life throws us unbelievable challenges, which this place is hard. It's not
It
easy.
is. It is.
We
Right.
need something. So for any of you struggling out there with, something right now, write. Even if it's
Right.
not some art, any type of art is therapeutical,
Right.
painting, drawing, but writing for me, it was very therapeutical. And also you can journal. You can just have a gratitude journal. You can just talk to your angels. You can talk to yourself. It doesn't have to be for publication purposes.
Yeah. You can write to him too, Eric just said. And by the way, I have to tell you that Jamie, she helped you. You channeled her as you did that book, which I think we
Oh,
talked about before, but she's confirming that again, that
Absolutely.
yeah,
I wanted to say that
channel.
there is some part of me that tapped out and she came in, and
Mhm.
sometimes
Yes.
I'll go back and read the book. I'm like, I don't even remember writing that.
oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? So yeah, so the book, I'll just give a quick read of the synopsis. So the tragic loss of her best friend Josie Lee, who's Jamie Lee in real life, leaves 10-year-old Serafina questioning her destiny until she learns she's the chosen one. Serafina is whisked away by a frantic talking butterfly on a quest to bring order back to a world inside a rainbow called Raven, with its 6 different colored realms, by finding and returning a very powerful rainbow crystal to its wizard owner, which was stolen from an evil witch and her trolls. Raven is a bridge between heaven and earth. Serafina is motivated by the knowledge that she will get to see her best friend's dead spirit through magical fairies and their pixie dust. Serafina will even meet and bond with a warrior fairy boy and her own unicorn, which she unknowingly birthed through a wish on a shooting star.
Wow.
Throughout her journey, she passes a series of tests and discovers self-confidence and hope with the help of supernatural characters who guide her along the way. Most importantly, she learns that Josie Lee is more of a guardian angel to her than she realizes, and has never really left her side after all. It doesn't even require magic, just faith.
Yeah.
Wow. That
And
should be
which
a
Jamie just said
movie. That would be an
Jamie just
awesome
said,
movie.
yes, it
Oh,
would.
it's yeah, and
Yeah.
that's it. It has been adapted into a screenplay. Part 1, I have to finish
Yeah.
the second part because I do screenwrite as well. But
I just want to tell you really quick
yeah,
that Jamie was
tell me.
saying, she's saying that she has never left your side. That's what she
Oh,
just said. And I was getting like chills, like she's giving me like she's got such a strong presence. Okay. I mean,
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of times spirits come through, and it doesn't mean they're any less, but there are some that come through and I just continuous chills from head to toe. Right.
She's strong.
And I wish you could see them like on the screen. My hair's standing up. But yeah, she's never left your side, and never will. And you guys have had many lives and we'll have many more together. Absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah, we would call each other soul sisters. And I think the connection was such a soul, like a soulmate connection, and I think you can have soulmates on many different levels.
Yes.
I'm sure
Yeah. She's saying yes to that. She said yes. She's saying yes to that. Yeah.
So I didn't want it to end.
I was just going to say, I think she's froze up.
I don't know what happened.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
you
just
were froze up. Yeah. I noticed she was froze up.
Zoom crashed.
stop it,
Then it came
Jamie.
back on. Ugh.
Yeah, I know. Back up.
All right,
And
sorry.
Eric and her must have been messing with me last night because picture frames kept falling over.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that happens. That will happen like right before you get like into something like this, Are
Yeah,
we
I was trying
recording still?
yeah, we are. I was
Okay.
kind of panicking because Courtney was telling me about the YouTube live that we're having, and she had the wrong time, and it's like, oh my. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah,
so
I could tell you were froze up there.
Yeah,
so-
right.
Because
Yeah.
I'm over here, yeah. I'm a talker. I can
That's
get
all right. That's all right. It needs to be heard. But were we still on
Yeah.
though? When it was froze, were we still
Yeah.
going,
Well,
Elisa?
Zoom stopped for like 5 seconds and then
Oh, okay.
rebooted.
Oh, okay.
And then
okay.
said recording in progress. So
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
So just to reiterate, the reason I wrote this book was to get me through my own grief. I could stay connected to Jamie, and I wanted people to not lose hope from losing their loved ones. And so Raven is the bridge between heaven and earth, and it is this mystical place with this realm, magical, okay. But it's also a compilation of stories I've heard of the near-death experiences. So all of these stories I've heard over the years about how the flowers are more colorful than any color you could ever see. The music is more,
Right.
and you raise your frequency, obviously. If you're on the other side, your frequency is raised. Here we have like a dense planet.
Yeah.
But I wanted a place where Serafina could raise her frequency and Josie Lee could almost lower hers to a place that they meet in the middle, because most of us humans don't know how to raise our frequency to the level of Ginger or people who can channel these loved ones.
Right.
And what she starts realizing is through this journey, where she's like, why me? Like, why am I the chosen one? Little old me. And Josie Lee is there to guide her along the way. And she's realizing that she is her spirit guide through this journey. But the symbolism is Jamie's my spirit guide through my journey,
Yeah.
through everything, through writing this book. So it didn't really hit me until afterwards what this book did for me. Unfortunately, getting published it's hard. It took me years to get this book published. I started writing it in 2007, 8, and then I didn't get published until 2017 with the first rendition of Rainbow Crystal. Then that publisher closed down their doors, and then I went with another publisher with a new cover.
Let me look it up.
It's a hard journey. It's not for
Yeah, they're on Amazon. They're on Amazon.
I'm looking it up.
But don't let that discourage you from writing your story.
Right. Right.
Which we can get into now. I just wanted everybody to understand why I'm here and what Rainbow Crystal means to me, why I'm talking about it, and how I think anybody can benefit through writing their story to get them through,
whatever they're going through. Yeah.
whatever they're going through. And that could be good or bad,
Right. Right. Yeah, like people who have even survived out the other end. Some people don't feel like they can put their story down. Erik says put it down on paper or put it out there until they
Really beautiful.
overcome.
Okay, so that's and that's the first cover from
okay.
Cover. I mean, it's okay. It's still on Amazon because they sell like old
here. Wait.
copies. This is the new cover. Okay, now that's Stella on the cover. She's the unicorn.
What about this one?
And then that's the sequel.
Yeah, she has a series. Now the next one.
And this is inspired by my son Lorenzo, who is autistic, and he comes into the second story as a boy with autism and how he plays a very significant role in the journey back to Raven. And how he realizes, I don't want to give away the surprise twist, but, maybe he's not 100% human after all, because his disabilities on planet Earth are really his supernatural abilities in the world of Raven, and he needs those. He needs those, what people would look at as like weird or different here. Don't underestimate what's going on inside the mind of these autistic children, because they could be speaking 10 languages. It's not coming out here.
Right. They just don't have the words. They don't have the words, Erik says. They don't have the words. Yeah.
So I do always say, to my son, I'm like, what planet, did you come from? What alien ship left you off? Because he is a
starseed. He is a starseed for sure. Absolutely. Yes, he is. Now, isn't this a trilogy? This is a trilogy. You're working on the third, right?
It will become a trilogy. So it's called Rainbow Crystal, A New World. And I do have puzzle pieces of the story. I definitely want to make this world feel like an afterlife. I'm even questioning maybe having Serafina on some level have an NDE so she can actually meet up with Josie Lee along the way. And something significant is going to happen where they have to save the planet, because now the worlds collided and their evil has come onto planet Earth because that portal opened and now the evil came over here. So, I mean, to really understand it, you've got to read, obviously, both.
It reminds me of the Anunnaki planet, the evil Anunnaki planet Nibiru. which people think are going to collide, is going to collide with her.
Oh,
It's
Yeah.
like this book called Atlantis Rising. It's so
oh, and I got to talk to you about this Atlantis thing too, because this is the craziest thing. I know you have Atlantis Scalar, which I've used your services. Very great, by the way.
thank you.
I have a weird story with Atlanta, so we'll get to that in a minute. But
Okay.
because I don't want to lose my train of thought with book two. So basically, I wanted to also, help people who have special needs children, because having a special needs older sister in a group home facility that my mom runs for special needs adult females, because of her, she passed away 2 years ago. And then that's when I found Ginger. And Ginger has helped me tremendously through my healing with Tony, and my sister passed away. And so has Erik. Every time we speak, Tony and Erik come through. And by the way, I'm not getting paid or anything to say this. Nobody's telling me to say this, but you absolutely have to have life coaching with Ginger.
Yeah, my son Lucas has.
Oh,
Loved it.
And I'm not
thank
saying
you. So
therapy
sweet.
doesn't work too. Like, get therapy if you have to get therapy, but do life coaching along with it, especially with somebody who has the ability to tap into the other side, because
Yeah.
they give you that guidance of finding hope with, like, for the book, for instance, there was many times I didn't want to go on writing this because I wasn't getting published, and the rejections were just hundreds
Oh,
by
it's
the pile.
awful. Yeah.
And I still look, I'm not a New York Times bestselling author. These books they're not flying off the shelves. I mean, I have to come on platforms like here to get some book sales going. And I
Yeah.
want to say, Jamie, what are you doing? Help me out over here. But when I have these readings with people like Ginger, she's like, don't give up. Erik is saying it's gonna happen. Like, he sees you, being on, like shows kind of like, I don't think he specifically said Good Morning America, but maybe shows like that, and talking about the book. And it's just a matter of divine timing.
That's what
Right?
I'm always told, like with the documentary and the TV series. I know you've been talking to Paola Marina, right? The director
Yes.
and writer
Yeah.
of the documentary. Yeah. Did you ever see the
Yeah.
teaser?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very powerful.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Yeah.
Very powerful.
It is.
So yeah, and I'm here to, I mean, you guys can go on my website. So I don't have to read you book two synopsis because it's a little long about, the special boy who could, but Samantha Caprio-Negret.com, or you just can put my name in Google and it'll
I'll
come
have it
up.
on here too, right, Elisa? They'll
We'll
have,
put it in the description box and probably on the screen too, Paola, right? Right?
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And yeah, so then the screenwriting came in after the books, because originally I went to journalism school and I used to write for entertainment news, WSVN 7, Channel 7 News in Miami. That's where I live. I live in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And that came back around. And I ended up writing a true story about my great-grandparents. So it has nothing to do with children. This is all about the Black Hand Society and the mafia in the early 1900s.
Oh, wow.
And the Italian immigrants. Now that screenplay has gotten over 25 film festival selections with 10 award winners, and it's won about 5 competitions.
Wow.
A fantastic story. So if you love true crime, anything with gangster films, anything with Italian, mafia. I mean, both of my parents are 100% Italian. I grew up Italian. Listening to these stories, my parents are originally from Jersey, and there was a lot of correlation there with uncles and stuff. But so there's a historical murder that was written about my great grandparents, and
What's the name of the screen of the film?
it's called Mana Nera, which is
Black
Italian
Hand?
Black Hand. Yep.
Yeah.
Black Hand. And we changed it because apparently Leonardo DiCaprio, out of all people, had signed on to play a movie called Black Hand, which was something that, I mean, the story's different than
Yeah.
ours. It's about the Black Hand Society, but it's about a detective.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I was like, I don't want to be,
Connected to that.
confusion there. So we
Yeah.
changed it. And I have a co-writer on that.
So it's now it's Mana Negra. Nera, right?
Mano Nera, Nera.
Mano Nera. Okay,
Mano
Mano
Nera.
Nera.
And that's on my website too. When you go to my
Oh, okay.
website,
I'll check it out.
screenplays, and then you scroll down and it'll show like I have a whole like a pitch deck presentation, which by the way,
Yeah,
that's something I could help you write for your documentary because now producers see they want everything instant, right?
I know.
It's got to be quick and
Teaser,
fast.
just an
Oh,
elevator pitch.
Mhm.
Pitch decks that we have a pitch deck for the TV series. I know that, see, this is
okay.
Paula's thing. It's not really my documentary. She came over and stayed with us for a month and filmed and stuff, but this is her baby. So I don't do things like make the pitch deck and all that. And she's so spiritual. I mean, she channels, so
Oh.
she's so elevated above and
Oh,
beyond
but I would
many
do that
writers.
would be something with my writing consulting services that I
Right.
could do for you. And that is, if these are the things that
Keep talking to her.
someone, yeah,
Yeah.
someone like you're too busy to do this, and writing isn't your full-time job. Okay. This is your full-time job. So you hire people to do these things. It doesn't mean you don't have a good story to pitch. You do. You just need people to help you get there.
Exactly.
So that's where I'm at because I've been doing this for 20 years.
But you're
I-
talking to Paula about some of
Yeah.
this, right? Good, good. Keep talking to her.
Yeah, no, and she
Yeah.
was super complimentary of me and my website, and she was like, "Wow, I'm very impressed," and that meant a lot
Yeah.
to me because that means that she's looking at what I'm doing, I'm looking at what she's
Yeah.
doing, and we can collaborate. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And anyone out there who's looking to write a screenplay or a TV series or wants to tell their story, I'm here to help best I can. My services aren't for free.
Of course not.
They used to be, and then after a while, I'm like, I can't keep giving all this free advice all the time. I don't have
I
the time
know.
anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's
It
energy
gives more,
exchange.
it gives it more value too, you
Right.
know?
yeah. And then Rainbow Crystal. So then I was like, you know what? My love for storytelling, and I'm an 80s baby, 80s into 90s. I grew up on 80s cinema and Back to the Future and Never Ending
Oh, yeah.
Story and
Yeah.
Legend and all these movies that inspired me of, Ghostbusters. And I'm like, I took the love. As a matter of fact, I wanted to write Rainbow Crystal in the 80s era because I love the 80s era. I mean, you can see my pink
Wow.
hair. And I had an agent who swayed me to not do that because she said, listen to this. She said, kids today cannot relate to the 80s era. They don't know what that is. So stay present, stay in present day time. Well, what came out shortly after that was a phenomenon? Stranger Things.
I know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
tell me that kids can't
He
relate to
was
the
wrong. I mean,
era.
my kids love the 80s, and even my eldest grandkids.
That's Eric's favorite time.
Right.
His
Wow.
favorite
Cool.
time, he says, is
Yay,
the
Eric.
favorite. Yeah.
You should have been her
Of all
agent.
times.
I knew I loved you, Eric.
Me
I do. I love Eric. He's my boy. He's my
too.
friend. He
Aw.
is. I feel such a kinship with him. I really do. I know he's helped, and I know he's brought me here.
He has. He
All
has.
he's doing with that
Absolutely.
psychic, you gotta listening to Channeling Erik, and then you guys, and then God, I love the interviews that you do, especially with the celebrities. And I'm like, just in the meeting.
Well, yeah, and
you're
we tried
such a
to keep it like we want to learn from them,
Right.
spiritual,
Right.
from the human experience component. We don't want to be voyeuristic and salacious and stuff like that.
No. And you guys do it very graciously. And listen, if there are any haters out there, people with the negative comments, that's
Oh,
on
there
them.
always are.
You're only doing positive
don't.
stuff. You're not.
Yeah.
I even hear you sometimes like ask questions and say, you know what, we don't have to go there if that, like you always respect the person you're interviewing,
Of
and you
course.
have to give,
Yeah.
I don't think you're putting anything,
No.
negative or hateful out there at all. I think you're just trying to help people. And if
But you just
people
can't
don't
make
like it,
everybody.
keep moving.
Yeah. Can't make everybody happy, and
No.
and nobody ever will. There's always going to be somebody who has, and these are projections anyway of their inner self. So
Well, and then
Yeah.
that's fear too. The ones who don't want to believe in you and say that's just their fear. And
Yeah, that's fine. I just don't look at it. So
I could
I
tell you
don't read
firsthand,
comments.
I know that my loved ones who've passed on there are things that I can't even explain that have happened. As a matter of fact, the exact time that my sister passed away, a cardinal was on my mom's windowsill tapping on the window. And we all know cardinals are the messengers from heaven. The exact time
Yeah.
that my sister passed away.
Oh,
So there's
yeah.
things you just can't explain. And if you don't believe in something bigger than ourselves, I mean,
Well, yeah, let me give an example. We had a Channeling Erik event. I used to open up my home for the mediums if they wanted to do an event, so they wouldn't have to pay a venue fee, and they could keep the cost of the tickets down. And I remember a couple came over that just lost their son 2 weeks before. And anyway, the father was having a private session with Jennifer in my bedroom. And all of a sudden, something falls from the ceiling and drops blink in front of Jennifer. She picks
Mm,
it up, and it's a necklace thing, a charm.
I'm a
It
like
says
charm.
gratitude. And she
Oh my
says, I think
God.
this is for you because Ivo, the father, was talking about how he was so grateful about his son, etc. So you can't
Wow.
make that shit up.
No,
Mm-mm.
and
Mm-mm.
when in my first session with Ginger, it was a reading. It wasn't for life coaching. The life coaching
Yeah.
didn't happen until after a few readings because I couldn't get enough. And then I just realized that I just needed to work through a lot of things in my life because I have had a lot of loss and then and just some other personal things too, but also getting through raising a son with special needs,
Yeah,
that requires a lot of sometimes you need to talk about that. But
yeah.
when we first channeled my sister, two things she said, and there's just no way she could have known this. No way. She knows nothing about my life, nothing about my
Mm-mm.
sister. She said, "What is TC?" And that is what I used to call my sister because it's Tony Caprio. And I used to say, "What's
Mm.
up, TC? What's up?" And
Mhm.
I'm like, oh my God, because I rarely called her Tony. Like it was always TC. She's like, she keeps saying TC. And I'm
Oh,
like,
Yeah.
wow.
and then she's like, what rainbow? I keep hearing rainbow. And I'm like,
Wow.
now you know me with the rainbows. And the group home was called the Rainbow Guardian Ranch
Wow.
because it's the rain. So that's the group home
Mm.
she lived in. And so she's like, she was saying something about her home, but she keeps saying rainbow. I don't understand this. And
Yeah.
I just
Well,
melted
wait,
in my
yeah.
chair. I'm
That's
like,
amazing.
That's how it works, though. You don't know until you get validation. Like I'll get
yeah,
things that pop in. Most mediums, I think, are like this. We'll get stuff sometimes, and it's like we don't really understand unless we get validation,
yeah.
Yeah.
of what it is.
But it couldn't have been any more on point because those two things are like
Nobody
significant.
would know.
It's not like you said she had blue eyes. I'm seeing blue, and I'd be like, no, she didn't have blue eyes. Like it was nothing that was like, I don't know what this lady's talking about. I've
Or
had
or,
some
or,
meetings
or these
where
things
I'm
like
like, they're
Johnny,
not,
or
they're not the real deal.
mediums
Yeah,
who have this big audience. I'm seeing somebody with
yeah,
an M or a rock. Does that mean
yeah.
you get a rose? I mean,
I Yeah, no, I'm not saying they're not fakes out there, or just people trying to make a living off of it,
yeah,
but you'll know the
yeah,
difference.
absolutely. And
That's something that I always tell anybody that does a session with me that first of all, nobody, including me, can ever be 100%.
oh no,
Okay.
of
Right.
course not.
But always follow your
Mm.
instincts, your own
Yeah.
Yeah,
instincts when you're talking to a medium. You want to follow what it feels like, and if it resonates with you. And that's a good way to know, pay
Yeah,
attention to that.
absolutely. Oh, you
I
know.
know one really famous. I won't say her name. Medium said told her sitter um, that she was that the sitter was the princess of darkness. And oh my God,
Wow.
that upset her so much. She had to have a lot
You
of therapy to get over that one.
Yeah, you really have to be careful because this is
Oh,
Yeah,
this is a person's life. This is a person's emotions. These things are very deep,
yeah,
to them and run deep. So
yeah.
you have to be very careful.
Well,
big
and also
responsibility.
too, you'll notice something like the readings I've gotten with some people that I'm like, yeah, maybe a couple things that they said resonate a little bit, but I don't know. But then at the end, when they're like, so I do this chakra cleansing program, and you can come to me for like 5 weeks, and it's a package cost of like, so much, and then you're like, okay, then they're trying to push something on you to sell where when it's just natural, you of course you pay for the reading because they have to make a living too.
Yeah,
They have to pay their bills, but it's not pushed on you. It's different. It's like Ginger's never pushed anything on me. I've gone to her every single time. As a matter of fact, I'm like, you don't have any availabilities for me for like 3 months. She's like, well, I'll
oh,
try and make it work for you. So No,
I do. I do.
but
If I do, I do. I try to get people
yeah.
in,
But
sooner if
you're
I can.
not like texting me or calling me and being like, look, we need our next set. Like you're not,
Right. Yeah,
it's
no.
not,
No, of
so
course
you
not.
can feel when people are authentic.
Yeah, you really
Yeah.
can.
Mm.
And sometimes you don't know if something a medium, psychic medium says, it sounds wrong. Like this one really good friend of ours, before Eric died even, said that my husband would absolutely fall in love with a little dog. And I go, he'd never liked any of our dogs. What are you
Yeah.
talking about? And now Bella, our little Yorkie,
Oh, that's my daughter's name, Bella.
I know, and her dog too. And
Mine
so
too.
he
Stop.
absolutely adores her. And then another thing was, y'all are going to be driving in the countryside in Norway, and you're going to come up on an accident, and you, Elisa, are going to get out as a doctor and help this girl, and then you're going to see your family standing over you, like amazed, like, wow, you're a rock star. And I go, okay, well, we never go on drives. What are you talking about? So anyway, two
Yeah.
years later,
Yeah.
accident. Kid had a girl had ruptured her spleen. And I was
Ugh.
helping, and then when I got back, the ambulance came. Rooney got back in the car. I said, don't you even remember that story? You remember? Yeah, I
That's
do.
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
timing.
that's
Because
such
Universal
you
timing.
you're a doctor. I mean, and you gave that up for channeling Eric. I mean, you don't like you do you still practice or I
well, I
mean,
do the scalar. No, I quit after that. I
okay,
mean, I
again,
just
people,
couldn't.
if it was
But I
about the
love
money,
I
she
love
could
my
be being
people.
a doctor because
I
it's been
know. I made a lot more money then than I do now. I'll tell you that. But it's
I
not
made a lot more
about
money in the restaurant business than I do as a writer. I
that.
hate to say it,
But
like,
I don't need
you know,
money. My husband supports us pretty well, and I never get my nails
my
done or anything. I
husband's
don't care
whole
about stuff.
side of his family are all doctors. My father-in-law's a retired doctor. My brother-in-law's an oncologist at the University of Miami. So
Hmm. Okay.
not anything I could ever do, but that's I compliment you as
Well,
well
I
that I
loved
can't
it,
even believe that you've,
but I needed to give Eric his platform.
Yep.
I had to make
well, if
that.
that's not a sign of love and being true to yourself, then I don't know what is because you're doing it. I mean, look, at the end of the day, this isn't a big money making business unless you do go on to like just get your big break. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm doing it for the love of it
which
and to
could
help.
happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why you're doing what you're doing. If it was about anything else, you had an ulterior motive, then, or the money, you would just be still practicing.
True.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to
So,
share? What time is it? We're getting close to.
well, I
We're
was going
getting
to say
close.
Oh
about the
yeah.
Atlantis scalar, what's the correlation with you with Atlantis? Because
Well,
I
I
was
mean,
told that I was
I don't
there.
know. I mean, my first company
Uh,
was I called Atlantis Software Company. That's my first corporation, and I designed software for parents, and it wasn't very successful, but Atlantis. Then we had a boat, and we decided to call it. I decided to call it Atlantis, then Atlantis Scalar. And I, why do I like this? Because I didn't know very much about Atlantis. But anyway, a lot of the mediums said I was a healer there, and that I worked with the Arcturians, and they were able to give me codes to encode into crystals to give to people to help them heal. So now I'm doing the
yeah, I
creating
just heard about these
the
crystals on the
crystals
Yeah.
Justin
that
Bieber
have
interview, Mind Probe last night. I want one of
Mm.
these crystals.
like this one is
A lot of people will and do. Yeah.
Omacrian.
Oh,
Crystals
I
are
haven't
very
I have
powerful. Crystals.
right.
It's all about the
These
rainbow
are like
crystal in her
computers.
story.
These are little computers. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
We are taking pre-orders, but this one is for like
Mhm.
healing, manifesting, expanding consciousness and intuition. Then you've got Om Manterash. I love saying this in the scalar field. Can't really see it, but
This is great. Can we
which
purchase
does
these on your
trauma,
website?
purifying energy, transmuting energy, and but anyway, they all have their different purposes, and they're just so many of them are just really beautiful. But you have to love them. Ask them,
Oh,
what can I
yeah,
do for you? What can you do for me? These have consciousness, and well, I mean, quartz they
absolutely.
use. I
Yeah,
think all the mediums said use
Yeah, they
only
do.
crystal quartz
Yes.
because they can be changed into. They can take on the characteristics of any crystal.
oh, and
And
my
Right.
kids
this is
are
why
sick.
we use
I put it under
computer
their
chips.
pillow
Computer
for
chips are made
healing.
of quartz.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
When they
and the
have
crystal
fevers
quartz
and stuff, I'll
skulls.
put the
Yeah.
rose quartz or the clear crystal under their pillow, and I'll like say a prayer over it, and then put it
Yeah.
under the pillow.
Yeah.
And the crystal skulls, the 13 crystal skulls that were in Atlantis, the Anunnaki made sure to try to make people think that skulls were evil. And so that's why we get this creeped out thing about skulls and Halloween and pirates and all that skull and crossbones. But they're really beautiful, sacred computers
Yeah,
that
I
have a lot
mean
of power.
that's great. Well, hopefully we can buy these crystals from you like soon on your website because I would love
People can
one.
pre-order them,
Yeah, she's
but
doing pre-orders.
I got to engrave them and code them, and I have to encode them with the person's actual frequency. So, and it takes a lot.
Yeah.
Not what I decided on the cost with shipping. I mean, with packaging and all that kind. Paying the designer for the design, everything. Paying for the laser engraver. So, as long as I make $14 an hour, that's an energy exchange thing for me.
Good. Yeah, no, you have
Everything.
that's
So,
what
Yeah,
money is,
yeah.
not
energy.
doctor, but
Well,
it keeps it.
before we end, what I wanted to add, and the reason I was asking about Atlantis is that I have a correlation with it too, and that was weird because maybe we both were in Atlantis together because I was
Yeah.
told I was in a past life there because what happened was when I got married, we got
Mhm.
married at Atlantis in the Bahamas.
Oh,
And so my husband works in ocean life with coral reefs and frags for a living. So everything's always been about the beach and ocean with us.
yeah.
And then, so we get married in the Bahamas at Atlantis, and then we honeymoon and we go to Greece first. And as we're in Santorini, we're on a tour, and they're talking about how apparently the fallen city of Atlantis is somewhere under, what in like one of the Greek islands. And I'm like, so we're honeymooning on the real Atlantis, and we got married in
Yeah.
Atlantis,
Amazing.
Bahamas. And then somebody told me, well, you and your husband were in Atlantis together, and that's where his because he is all about marine biology and everything with ocean life. And it's just been following us. And then all of a sudden
Well,
I see, it with you all the time.
yeah,
I'm
like,
like, this
oh,
is interesting. That's
Yeah.
another weird thing. And
well, at
Yeah.
2:30, we're going to have a Central Time. We're going to have a YouTube live where this woman is going, Tammy Manzo is going to do a mass trauma relief especially from people who have had a lot of trauma, like drowning in Atlantis. So that's going
yeah.
to be.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But
Interesting.
Atlantis Rising, Syrian Revelations is a super great book. And what it explains, the Syrians are saying, you
Mhm.
guys, here's what happened in Atlantis. Y'all got ego, big-headed, greedy, power, blah, blah, blah. Influenced by the Anunnaki, and Nikola Tesla was one of those. And this is happening now, people.
Yeah, it's
You
building
are
back up.
the high priestesses of Atlantis got a big head and they became greedy, and now we have our own elite, global elite that are trying to just, George Soros our earth away. Anyway, I guess we better go.
Yeah. And if
Thank
I
you.
have any requests for Eric to do, you've got to do. I'm dying to hear. And I told Ginger, I'm like, we got to hear Tupac and Biggie. Okay.
Oh yeah. No, we haven't.
And we got to hear
There.
from the Menendez brothers' parents. Okay.
Oh,
Because everybody's watching this Monsters right now,
I
and they kill
know.
the parents.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of
on
that.
the list.
So
But we
Yeah.
Eric, bring them all on. I can't wait. I'm waiting on the edge of my
did a
chair.
mind probe on P. Diddy, and he was
Yes, I
involved in those
heard it.
murders. And we
It was-
did Tupac, and we did, but I don't know if it was,
No, you've never done two.
yeah,
Have you?
Tupac and
And
Biggie
I missed it
and
then.
Notorious
Okay.
B.I.G. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
It's there.
Go in it.
It's on the
Put it in
blog,
there.
Channeling Erik, and
Okay. I wanted to hear Tupac and Biggie coming
Yeah.
together, like what their soul contract was with
that
each other.
would be
Like P. Diddy,
awesome.
because right now P.
Yeah.
Diddy is everywhere, and so is the Menendez brothers. These are two big Hollywood stories,
I
or
know. Yeah.
public figure stories, whatever. But
All right, we'll
yeah.
do it.
So if you guys want to have any questions for me about the writing consulting, if it has anything to do with you, Elisa, or anyone in general, ask me now because I can, I'm here to help. So I just don't want to leave
Sounds
any
great.
questions unanswered.
A woman of many
Yeah.
talents. All right, you guys be
Yes.
sure to check her out. It's in the description box below, and also Ginger and Erik. Thank you, Jamie.
And
Thank you for joining us as well.
yeah, Eric is saying I love you, Mom, and he's saying he loves you too. Loves you
Love
too,
you, Eric.
Samantha.
And Jamie.
And yeah, and Jamie.
guys.
Thumbs
Jamie
up for
saying
the
love you.
video, please, guys.
Yeah, she's going like that. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Elisa
So-
and Ginger, so much for this opportunity.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. It's an
And I'm
honor.
here to
Me
help. If
too.
you guys have a book you want to write, I'll take you through the whole step-by-step
Awesome.
process and get
Yeah.
started. Go to my
All right.
website. See me there.
All right.
Sounds great. Thank you,
All
guys.
right.
Bye, all.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.